Hello and welcome back to the Faith and Culture Show. I'm Catherine Camp, your hostess for the show. And this is a show where we learn how to engage our culture with conversations that count, conversations with an eternal perspective. And today I am so privileged to have Caleb Collier. He is a U.S. Marine veteran who served his country with distinction and honor during his military service. See, Caleb worked in telecommunications for the infantry, utilizing his skills and knowledge to support his fellow Marines. And he's still helping people with his knowledge. In addition to his military background, Caleb has also served as an EMT, providing life-saving care and assistance to those in need. He is a former councilman, and I'm going to talk to him about that, in Spokane Valley, Washington. While serving as a councilman, Caleb opposed a vaccine mandate in public schools and attempted to make Spokane Valley a Second Amendment sanctuary city. I'd like to learn a little bit more about that as well. Caleb is the co-host of Church and State, where he partners with his best friend, Gabe, to bring a lively, moral, and ethical discussion for religious and non-religious worldviews. So I'd like to welcome Caleb on the show, because the reason why I reached out to him really was because he works for Turning Point USA Faith. I don't know if you knew that Turning Point USA has a faith area now, section to it. He is the senior regional manager, encouraging the church to become more civically engaged. He's a passionate advocate for the intersection of faith and politics. And he believes that it is the responsibility of every individual to take an active role in shaping the future of their community and their country. And as you know, as my regular viewers, that's exactly what we talk about all the time. Through his work, Caleb inspires others to stand up for their beliefs and make their voices heard.
Here, Catherine, thank you so much for having me on your show.
I'm really excited. It took me a long time to get someone from faith, from the faith section of TPUSA, but I think it's been well worth it. I know you all have grown quite a bit, very fast, and so I understand that in that movement, sometimes things don't always work smoothly right at first. And that's what I'm assuming has happened with TPUSA Faith. It's just grown very quickly.
Yeah, it's massively growing as an organization. Obviously, Turning Point, most people are pretty familiar with Turning Point. They've been around for over a decade now, going into colleges and universities and offering a space for conservatives and for Christians to gather and to really beat back the indoctrination that's occurring there. The Faith Department, we're a little over 2 years old, but Charlie Kirk realized specifically during the pandemic that Christians needed to be active civically, and especially when they really started closing down churches and you needed appointments to go and visit a church. They were shut down, but you could go to a liquor store or a pot shop or a strip club. But you couldn't go to church. That's really kind of what birthed TPUSA Faith, and he partnered with Pastor Rob McCoy from Godspeed Calvary Chapel, and we've been hitting the ground running ever since.
Yeah, it's I know that the big TPUSA conference, I guess Amerifest, held in December. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, please, because I'm just now focusing on things like that. Whereas before, I wasn't focusing on that end of the Christian realm. I'm an apologist, so that's my academic stuff has been my thing. But was this the third year that it was put on?
Yeah, so we've been doing AmFest for a few years now. It's quickly becoming the largest gathering of conservatives and Christians in the nation. And I think it's unique in a lot of ways from some of the other conservative organizations out there that put on similar events. in that you do see that intersection between Christianity and politics, and the people that we're bringing on are just of the highest caliber, in my opinion. I mean, we had Roseanne Barr there, for example. If you would have told me 10 years ago that Roseanne Barr would have been conservative and fighting for us,
I know.
Right. But, those are the type of people, we had the comedian Rob Schneider as well, who was a speaker. And even, we haven't worked with him, but Russell Brand he just came out and said that he's going to be baptized. So I'm seeing a lot of individuals, even like Joe Rogan, for example, who's not a Christian, but there's people who are pursuing truth. And we know as believers that all truth leads to Jesus Christ. And so I'm very hopeful as I'm seeing so many of these people that before would have been very anti-Christian that are coming on board and starting to pursue the actual truth. Yeah,
and I'm so happy as I'm in full-time ministry, and that to see this finally happening and to be alive while it's happening. Not that it's easy, and it's not, there's so much going on, and once you're awake, you can't close your eyes and go back to sleep again. And there is, now you have probably seen things for far longer because you're an ex-Marine. And so for me, though, I've always believed in the very structured, what we were taught about our country and the military. I never paid attention to the rhetoric of military industrial complex. I did have bad experiences with the medical industrial complex with one of my children. And so that woke me up, fortunately, before all of this other stuff happened. So we didn't fall for a lot of it. However, to see people like Russell Brand coming to Christ and Joe Rogan thinking about it, and there are many others, big names, who have never really thought about their mortality and they're seeing what's going on, and the importance of, wow, you know what? We need God. We need to know who he really is. So you are in a very unique position right now. God, it's almost as if, and a lot of people are figuring out, God is using everything that he ever, let you go through to be in the position that you are in today. Your military background as an EMT, obviously you care about people, because as I was reading through what you've done, and I know that's a short bio, it's just a little tiny summation of everything that goes into what you have trained for. EMTs, people, if you don't know, the book is like this thick, and you have to take classes to even qualify to go into that profession. And I think it's pretty thankless, actually. You don't make that much money, but anyhow, so obviously you care about people. You're getting to see people, start coming to Christ and questioning. The person I was trying to think of is Naomi Wolf. She's Jewish, but she has seen her upscale New York cliquish where she was always accepted, and then she started learning the truth about the injections and all of that, and she started to go, whoa, wait a minute. Something is very wrong in our world. So tell us how you got connected with TPUSA, with everything else that you've had on your plate.
Yeah, it's a great question. So I was actually working for a different organization when I first came on with TPUSA Faith. I was working for an organization that specifically dealt with the Islamic threat inside the United States. And so we would travel around the country educating people, putting on courses and events that would inform these individuals about, the radical Marxist threat as well as the jihadist threat. It was Carlos the Jackal who said all the way back in the 1980s that only a combination of Marxism and Islam can overthrow the West.
Hey, thanks for watching the Faith and Culture Show. If you'd like to continue this particular episode, please go to the Rumble link below or click on the QR code and join me on the free speech platform over there. Look for the name of the episode and start about the 10-minute mark. I hope to see you there because